I was just in a meeting next door here at a mastermind, and I told everybody, like, write down what your biggest constraints are. And I said, I bet your money will solve every single one of them. If you just had more money, I think your constraints go away. Money will get you better people. Money will get you better marketing. Money will get you better infrastructure. Money will get you better technology. So the thing that we need to be solving, money problems, need more cash flow. This concept that if we sell more homes, we'll have more money, you guys have already learned that's not so true. Okay, so the increasing income per transaction and leveraging other people's money, including investor money, is part and parcel for growing the business. All right, so you're on the hot seat here. First of all, let's get a state of the state. You're doing 422 deals. It's been kind of flat. Now, where do you want to go? Like, what's the goal here? So 50% growth in business would be how many transactions? So 633 deals. We're going to go to 633 transactions. You're going to do it in 24 months. You've got 13 people totally, the total now. You're making 3.37% commission per deal. How many transactions is that per person that works at your company? Essentially, it's 3 deals a month, give or take. So everybody's got a really clear picture. All right, so you're trying to grow this thing. You're stuck at 422 deals a year. Nobody's going to cry for you, though, let me tell you, bud. All right. Have you plugged in the numbers on what happens if that 3.7 was 4.25? So I'm not trying to steal everybody's thunder on it, but money solves money problems. What will happen, right, if you increase your income per transaction, your transactions are going to go up. That's going to make up the gap. Simultaneously, this happens across the board. When people raise their fees, their transactions increase too. You get halfway there increasing the income at your level, and then you make up the gap just through, it's almost automatic, your transaction count goes up. Because in order to increase the income you make per transaction, there's typically some moves you got to make. And those moves lead to better service, better structure, better accountability, less deals falling through. It just raises the transaction count across the board. If it were me, I would set the financial goal as the primary goal. You will probably do things differently than if it's a transaction goal. You'll make different moves. And let me tell you why I think the money precedes the transaction. I'm just saying that if your goal is $6 million versus a transactional goal of 633, with more money, you will do more deals. And the belief that if we sell more houses, we have more money is a false belief. And I'm going to tell you why. Have you ever done 633 deals before? It's fair to say that you don't know what it's going to cost you to get there. It is true that for most of us on the meeting today, you haven't been to where you most want to go. So you don't know what it's going to cost. It's speculation. It's going to cost way more than you think it is to get to where you want to go. So the obvious move to make to solve the constraint is increase income per transaction. You've already proven that you guys can bang out year after year after year, 420, 450 deals. No matter what happens in the marketplace, you're banging it out based on how you do things and how you go about it. How do you break through that? Increase income per transaction. But how much? So if your average selling price is $450, you need 4.5% to be properly capitalized in the United States of America. All right. Now, the reason I know that is because I've been there and done it, not just personally, but with a bunch of you guys. First thing was, instead of transactional goals, make it money goals. And the reason is just philosophy that in order to do more transactions, you're going to need more money. And the experience across the board for everybody here, that's been the way to go about it. Is focus on money. The transactions will follow suit. And then how do you get to the money goal? And you play around with the money that you charge. How do you get to half a point? You charge it as a transaction fee. Don't go in and raise your commission half a point, charge the transaction fee half a point. If you added a half a point transaction fee, didn't do anything else, you're halfway to your goal on a half a point transaction fee. That would be a move to make. So either you have to basically keep selling houses to subsidize that, or you increase the income that you make per transaction. That's what Shelly did. That's what Nate did. That's what Tracy did. That's what Jim did. And that's what, quite frankly, the elite people on this session today have done. If you wanted to expand or you wanted to go out and get more people, you've got to spend more money. And you're going to have to do that to increase the transaction count, agreed? So I know how much money Nathan needed in order to break free of his business and to grow it up before he knew it. So I told him, you got to get to this number, per sell based on your selling price to do the life and things you want to do. And it's like a constant drumbeat for years, like, you got to make this happen. I think if you can find a way to increase a half a point per deal, I think the rest of it falls into place for you. But that would be a transaction fee move for me versus it would be like anything else. I would just make sure you got clarity on your moves now that you need to make. You walk in with the transaction fee, like it's already got the 0.5% transaction fee built in to the buyer and seller agreements and let the customer present your value and then let the customer have their say. And I think what you'll find out is you could have been getting it all along.